before the thunder of colossal footsteps shook the earth, before the horizons stretched wide with towering necks and swaying tails, there was silence. Silence, broken only by the slow rustle of ferns and the subtle churn of ancient winds across a young and restless planet. This was a world on the edge of transformation, a prehistoric crucible where giants would be forged, not from metal or fire, but from flesh, bone, and evolution. The age was the Mesozoic era, stretching from about 252 to 66 million years ago, divided into three vast epochs: the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous. And it was within these eons, over the span of nearly 200 million years, that nature sculpted its most magnificent and terrifying creations, the dinosaurs. But not just any dinosaurs, not the swift predators that stalk the forests, nor the small bird-like creatures that flitted from tree to tree. No, our story does not begin with the cunning or the quick. This tale belongs to the giants, the massive, lumbering titans whose very presence reshaped the ecosystems they ruled. These were the creatures who bore names that echoed like myth: Argentinosaurus, Patagotitan, Dreadnoughtus, Brachiosaurus, Sauroposeidon, being so massive that even the largest land animals today seem like dwarves in comparison. Some stretched over 120 feet long, weighed more than 10 African elephants combined, and stood tall enough to nibble from the top of a 6-story building. They were, without question, the largest land animals to have ever walked the earth. But where did they come from? What strange ancestral spark led evolution to favour such immense size? The answer, as with most in paleontology, is both simple and staggeringly complex. In the late Triassic, around 230 million years ago, the earliest dinosaurs were relatively modest in size. Many were bipedal, swift and agile, built more for survival than domination. They lived in a world that was still recovering from the Permian-Triassic extinction, a cataclysmic event that wiped out over 90% of Earth's species. The stage was set for a new class of animal to rise, and rise they did. By the time the Jurassic period dawned around 201 million years ago, the climate had grown warmer and wetter. The Earth was lush with ferns, cycads, and giant conifers, prime feeding grounds for what would become the sauropods, the long-necked herbivores whose size would eventually shatter every record nature had set. Sauropods were the blueprint of gigantism. With elongated necks, powerful legs like columns, and whip-like tails, they were walking ecosystems unto themselves. But their size was not just a feat of evolution. It was a defense, a survival strategy, and perhaps even a way to regulate their internal systems in a world with no modern parallels. Their bones were laced with air sacs, making their massive frames surprisingly lightweight for their size. Their tiny heads, perched atop those impossibly long necks, allowed them to feed on a wide vertical range of foliage without having to move their entire bodies. Their sheer mass deterred most predators, and when they walked, they shaped the land, flattening forests, forming trails, and leaving behind footprints that still baffle and awe us today, and we know they existed not just because of the bones they left behind, but because of the stories those bones tell. Fossils speak volumes about behavior, diet, anatomy, and environment. They are time capsules, capturing echoes of ecosystems lost to time. The first sauropod fossils were discovered in the 19th century, during the height of what would become known as the Bone Wars, a fierce rivalry between paleontologists Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh. These two men unearthed dozens of new species, often in haste and sometimes at the cost of scientific accuracy. But their efforts laid the foundation for what we now know about these giants. Early discoveries included Apatosaurus, Brontosaurus, and Diplodocus, names that would become legendary, not only in museums but in the minds of millions. These were among the first true giants ever revealed to humanity, and their bones inspired a generation of fossil hunters, scientists, and dreamers. As more fossils emerged from the rock, it became clear that the size of these creatures defied expectations. Paleontologists found that the largest species, like Argentinosaurus, may have weighed up to 100 tons. But how did something so massive even move? How did it feed, breathe, and grow? These questions still fuel debate, research, and exploration today. We also now understand that gigantism in dinosaurs wasn't a single event. It was a pattern. Across the Mesozoic timeline, multiple lineages of sauropods independently evolved extreme size. This suggests that being enormous offered real evolutionary benefits: access to food others couldn't reach, the ability to migrate long distances, and a natural defense against even the most fearsome predators. But gigantism came with trade-offs. These creatures likely lived slow, deliberate lives. They may have taken decades to reach maturity, and their reproductive strategies, laying dozens of eggs at once, were designed for quantity over quality. Still, their long reign over the Earth speaks to the effectiveness of this evolutionary gamble. And so, we begin our journey here, with the first thunderous steps of the dinosaurs who defied gravity, logic, and time. Over the next 29 segments, we'll explore these behemoths in greater depth. We'll examine their fossilized remains, retrace the paths of their discovery, and bring their forgotten world back to life. From the Badlands of Patagonia to the canyons of Utah, from desert dig sites to high-tech labs, we'll follow the clues left behind by creatures whose very bones challenge the limits of what we thought possible. In the heart of Patagonia, where the winds sweep across barren, fossil-rich plains and time itself seems frozen in stone, a discovery emerged that would redefine our understanding of dinosaurian magnitude. Here, beneath layers of sediment and secrecy, scientists unearthed bones so large, so impossibly colossal, they were initially mistaken for rock formations. What they had found was not merely another sauropod. It was a titan. Its name would be etched in the annals of paleontology as Argentinosaurus huinculensis, and it remains one of the most massive land animals ever discovered. Measuring an estimated 100 to 115 feet in length and weighing perhaps 70 to 100 tons, Argentinosaurus didn't just walk the earth, it owned it. This late Cretaceous behemoth was a member of the Titanosauria, a clade of sauropods that evolved in the southern hemisphere and whose size often defied biomechanical logic. Argentinosaurus was first described in 1993 by paleontologist José Bonaparte, a legendary figure in South American fossil science. The initial find was a series of vertebrae, each nearly as tall as a grown man. Nearby were parts of the femur, ribs, and pelvic bones, scattered like the ruins of a forgotten empire. Unlike more complete dinosaur skeletons, much of Argentinosaurus remains a mystery. Scientists have only recovered a handful of bones, but those few are enough to provoke awe. based on scaling from related titanosaurs and educated reconstructions, paleontologists have pieced together a rough silhouette of this terrestrial leviathan. Its torso was like a ship's hull, deep, wide and reinforced with thick interlocking vertebrae that supported an internal system of air sacs. These sacs not only lightened the load of such an enormous body, but may have helped with breathing efficiency, ensuring a constant flow of oxygen despite the animal's immense bulk. The neck of Argentinosaurus may have spanned over 30 feet, providing access to treetop foliage others couldn't reach. Its limbs were sturdy pillars, more like tree trunks than bones, and its tail stretched out behind like a counterbalance, tapering to a whip-like point that could have served for defense or communication. But perhaps the most astonishing feature of Argentinosaurus isn't the size itself, it's the implications that size brings. To support such a vast body, Argentinosaurus must have consumed hundreds of pounds of plant matter daily. Its digestive system was likely a slow-moving cauldron, fermenting vegetation for days within a massive gut. And though its head was relatively small, its diet and feeding strategy were incredibly efficient. Like a living crane, it could strip foliage across a wide swath of vertical space without needing to move its enormous frame. The reproductive strategy of such a giant is still debated. Titanosaurs are thought to have laid numerous eggs, up to 30 or more in a single clutch. These were buried in shallow nests incubated by the sun and soil. Many hatchlings likely never reached adulthood, but those that did would have grown rapidly. Some studies suggest rates that dwarf even the fastest growing mammals today. So how did such size evolve? One theory revolves around predator-prey dynamics. In a world of massive theropods like Giganotosaurus, another Patagonian terror, the best defense may have been to outgrow danger. Another possibility is ecological. Being larger meant reaching untouched food sources and travelling vast distances in search of sustenance and water. But being a giant had costs. Turning, even slightly, would have required space. Falling could have been fatal, and in old age, their immense weight may have taken a toll on joints and internal systems. Yet, despite these limitations, Argentinosaurus thrived, becoming an icon of the titanosaur lineage. Today, we can stand beneath life-sized reconstructions of Argentinosaurus in museums and gape at the immensity of its frame. But even these replicas may underestimate the animal's true grandeur. For every bone we find, dozens remain hidden, awaiting rediscovery under layers of time and sediment. Satellite imaging, LiDAR scans, and ground-penetrating radar are helping paleontologists find fossil sites faster than ever. And in Argentina, the land still whispers of bones waiting to be found, fragments of a time when the Earth's greatest giants made Patagonia their kingdom. What's more humbling is the idea that Argentinosaurus may not even have been the largest dinosaur ever. It is a title it holds tenuously, constantly challenged by other colossal contenders. But whether it wins the crown or not, Argentinosaurus remains a turning point in our understanding of dinosaur gigantism. It's a reminder of how much we still don't know, a warning not to underestimate the ancient world, and an invitation to look deeper into the earth for secrets still buried. One vertebra. That's how it started, a single stone with strange ridges. That one fossil opened the door to a legend, and with that door now open, we march deeper into the shadows of the past, where more giants await. In 2014, on a sun-scorched plain in Argentina's Chubut province, a lone rancher stumbled across something strange, a large fossilized object protruding from the dusty ground. What he had discovered was not just a bone, it was a femur over 8 feet long, and it belonged to what would become one of the most celebrated titans of the modern paleontological era, Patagotitan majorum. Patagotitan, its name a tribute to Patagonia and the family that owned the land, is one of the most complete titanosaur skeletons ever found. Estimated to be around 122 feet long and weighing as much as 77 tons, Patagotitan wasn't just large, it was monumental. And unlike many of its rivals in the race for size supremacy, Patagotitan's skeleton was nearly 70% complete. That level of preservation allows paleontologists to do something rare: confidently reconstruct how this giant moved, fed, grew, and even interacted with its environment. Every bone tells a story, and Patagotitan had a full library. The sheer width of its ribcage suggests a massive gut, an organ system designed to process unending volumes of fibrous plant matter. Its legs were perfectly shaped to carry unimaginable weight, its hips broad and stabilized for balance, and its tail, like a suspension bridge cable, helped distribute weight and prevent toppling. Studies of its bone histology, the microscopic structure of fossilized bone, show that Patagotitan was still growing when it died, suggesting it may have reached even greater mass had it lived longer. Paleontologists believe its growth rate was among the fastest of any known land animal. Its habitat was likely semi-arid, dotted with conifers, ferns, and flowering plants, enough to feed a creature that likely consumed hundreds of pounds of vegetation daily. And it didn't live alone. Evidence shows that multiple individuals may have died together, suggesting a herding behavior, a potential defense against predators, or a strategy to manage migratory movement. Patagotitan may not officially hold the title of the largest dinosaur, but it is a strong contender, and thanks to its incredible preservation, it stands as a gold standard, a skeletal blueprint by which we can measure the true potential of titanosaur size. Its discovery reignited global interest in dinosaur gigantism and proved once again that Patagonia holds more than secrets. It holds giants, patiently waiting beneath stone. The name Dreadnoughtus evokes an image of unstoppable power. It's a name borrowed from early 20th century warships, massive battleships that ruled the seas without fear. In 2014, when paleontologist Kenneth Lacovara unveiled the fossil remains of this extraordinary dinosaur, he chose the name intentionally, Dreadnoughtus Shranni, meaning the one who fears nothing, and rightfully so. At an estimated 85 feet long and weighing over 65 tons, Dreadnoughtus was built like a fortress. But unlike many other titanosaur giants, Dreadnoughtus's fossil was remarkably intact, including much of the shoulder, limbs, vertebrae, ribs and tail. Over 70% of its skeleton by bulk was recovered, making it one of the most complete giant sauropods ever discovered. Dreadnoughtus lived around 77 million years ago, in the late Cretaceous period. It roamed a vast floodplain now located in southern Argentina, likely rich with plant life, shallow rivers, and seasonal monsoons. It was a creature engineered by evolution to dominate its environment, with legs thicker than tree trunks, a tail that could level a small building, and a neck long enough to browse from both canopy and ground without moving more than a step. Its center of mass was distributed in such a way that it could move steadily, but likely very slowly. It wasn't built for speed. It didn't need to be. There were few, if any, predators capable of taking on an adult Dreadnoughtus. What makes this dinosaur stand out, however, isn't just its size, it's the insight it provides into sauropod biomechanics. With so many fossilized bones recovered, scientists could build detailed 3D models, test muscle attachment sites, simulate movement, and even estimate blood flow and energy consumption. These models confirmed what paleontologists long suspected. The physiological demands of supporting such a body were immense, and yet nature achieved it again and again through convergent evolution. Dreadnoughtus may not have been the absolute biggest, but it was one of the most solidly built, almost industrial in its form, and it marks a critical point in sauropod evolution, a culmination of millions of years of selective pressure to grow, endure, and survive. No fear, no rival museum halls, Brachiosaurus is not just a dinosaur, it's an icon. Discovered in the early 20th century by American paleontologist Elmer S. Riggs, Brachiosaurus was unlike any sauropod seen before. Its forelimbs were longer than its hind limbs, giving it a giraffe-like posture that allowed its head to reach heights of 40 to 50 feet, roughly the height of a 4 or 5-story building. Its name, arm lizard, reflects this unique limb structure. Estimated at around 85 feet long and 40 to 50 tons, Brachiosaurus was a giant of the late Jurassic, roaming what is now North America roughly 154 to 150 million years ago. It likely lived in semi-arid environments, near rivers and forested floodplains, feeding on the tops of conifers and ginkgos, browsing well above the reach of other herbivores. This vertical feeding strategy gave it a unique niche. While other sauropods may have fed at mid to low levels, Brachiosaurus could access a canopy of untouched foliage, reducing competition and ensuring a steady food supply. Its teeth, spoon-shaped and peg-like, were ideal for stripping axe to keep it lightweight and efficient. Contrary to early depictions, Brachiosaurus was not amphibious. It didn't wade through swamps or need water to support its weight. Modern studies of bone density and biomechanics suggest it was fully terrestrial, using powerful columnar limbs to support its bulk across dry ground. Its massive size made it nearly impervious to predators. Even the formidable Allosaurus, a common theropod of its time, would have thought twice before engaging a full-grown Brachiosaurus. However, juveniles and hatchlings would have been vulnerable, and evidence suggests Brachiosaurus may have lived in herds, with adults offering some level of protection to the young. Today, Brachiosaurus stands as a testament to the diversity of sauropod design. It wasn't the longest nor the heaviest, but it may have been the tallest, a literal high point in the story of dinosaurian gigantism. To look at a Brachiosaurus skeleton is to look at evolution's ambition, a creature built not just to survive, but to rise. In the early 1990s, in the red sandstone deposits of Oklahoma's Antlers Formation, a discovery was made that would challenge our notions of vertical reach in dinosaurs. Paleontologists recovered a set of enormous neck vertebrae, so long and light that they seemed almost too delicate to support a giant. But these bones belonged to a dinosaur that redefined the limits of height. Sauroposeidon proteles, the earthquake god lizard. Estimates suggest Sauroposeidon could reach 60 feet into the air, the tallest known dinosaur ever discovered. From the ground to the tip of its skull, it may have stood taller than a 6-story building. Its neck alone may have stretched up to 40 feet, supported by an intricate system of air sacs and ultralight internal bone structures that resembled those of modern birds. Sauroposeidon lived during the early Cretaceous, around 110 million years ago, a time when much of North America was a flat, humid landscape fringed by a shallow inland sea. This dinosaur wasn't the heaviest, coming in at around 50 to 60 tons, but it was likely the tallest animal ever to walk the earth. Its remains, mostly vertebrae, were so massive that when first discovered, they were mistaken for fossilized trees. Each neck vertebra stretched over 4 feet in length, and when paleontologists began to assemble the skeletal picture, what emerged was astonishing: a giraffe-like sauropod with a vertical browsing range beyond anything known. To support such height, Sauroposeidon's limbs were columnar and reinforced, its shoulders positioned much higher than its hips, much like Brachiosaurus, its close relative. The body sloped forward, tail trailing behind like a heavy counterweight, balancing its skyward mass. Its size granted immunity from most predators. At the time, North America was home to large theropods, but few would dare challenge an adult Sauroposeidon. For juveniles, however, vulnerability was a fact of life, and much of Sauroposeidon's growth likely occurred rapidly, perhaps even explosively during certain phases, to escape predation. What truly fascinates paleontologists is how Sauroposeidon managed its internal systems. To pump blood to such heights, it would have required a massive heart, possibly weighing over 400 pounds, and a highly efficient vascular system to prevent the brain from being deprived of oxygen. Breathing too was optimized. A system of avian-style air sacs allowed air to flow continuously, ensuring constant oxygen intake. Unlike earlier sauropods, Sauroposeidon's fossil record is sparse. Still, with the bones we have, scientists have crafted biomechanical models suggesting it could graze from both ground-level ferns and towering tree canopies, switching its posture like a living hydraulic crane. Despite its lofty height, Sauroposeidon likely moved with slow, deliberate grace, covering vast distances in search of food. It may have lived in small groups, using sheer scale as deterrence rather than agility or aggression. Its reproductive strategy likely mirrored other sauropods, multiple eggs laid in shallow nests, with survival rates low but growth rates high. Today, Sauroposeidon is often overshadowed in popular media by its more famous cousins, but in the scientific world, it remains an aerial marvel, a record breaker for height, and a stunning example of nature's architectural ambition. To imagine standing beneath this dinosaur is to feel truly dwarfed, not just in size, but in the scope of life's possibilities. This was not a creature built to merely exist. It was built to rise, to tower, to dominate the vertical space of its ecosystem. It was quite more than reality. This is Spinosaurus aegypticus, a dinosaur whose very shape challenges everything we thought we knew about the prehistoric world. Spinosaurus, believed to have lived during the Cretaceous period, around 112 million years ago, was a carnivorous giant that defied classification. While most theropods like Tyrannosaurus rex were formidable predators on land, Spinosaurus was adapted to a very different environment. Its name, spine lizard, refers to the sail-like structure on its back, formed by elongated neural spines, bones that reached heights of over 6 feet, making it one of the most distinctive theropods to ever walk the earth. But Spinosaurus wasn't just about a fancy sail. It was a semi-aquatic predator, built for life both on land and in water. Its long, crocodile-like snout was filled with conical teeth, perfect for gripping slippery fish, and it likely hunted in the shallow waters of river systems and lakes. Unlike the heavy-bodied T-Rex, Spinosaurus was long and slender, with a body built for swimming. Its large, paddle-like feet and dense bones suggest it was an accomplished swimmer, and it may have spent a significant amount of time submerged, chasing fish and other aquatic prey. For many years, Spinosaurus was misunderstood. Initially, scientists thought it was just another giant land predator. But with the discovery of more complete fossils in the early 2000s, it became clear that this dinosaur wasn't merely a giant scavenger or predator. It was a king of rivers, a creature perfectly adapted to a life spent both in and out of the water. It's hard to overstate the scale of Spinosaurus. At an estimated 50 to 59 feet long and weighing in at over 7 to 9 tons, it was larger than Tyrannosaurus rex in length, though perhaps not as bulky. Its body was lean and efficient, with a long tail designed for powerful propulsion through water. The sail on its back, while still a subject of debate, may have been used for thermoregulation, helping to control its body temperature, or perhaps as a visual display to attract mates or ward off rivals. Spinosaurus's hands were massive, with 3 fingers equipped with large, curved claws. These claws would have been ideal for grasping fish and other prey, and they likely played a crucial role in its unique feeding habits. Its diet was predominantly fish, but it may also have hunted small terrestrial prey or scavenged other animals when the opportunity arose. The true impact of Spinosaurus's discovery lies in how it changes our understanding of dinosaur ecology. For decades, dinosaurs were seen as strictly land-dwelling creatures, but Spinosaurus challenges this notion, showing that the lines between aquatic and terrestrial environments were far blurrier than we once thought. This discovery has opened the door to a whole new perspective on prehistoric ecosystems and animal behavior. The rediscovery of Spinosaurus has also sparked a debate about the nature of sauropod predators. If Spinosaurus truly dominated the waters, what other apex predators were there in the surrounding environment? Could theropods have been more specialized in hunting particular types of prey? Or did they live in dynamic ecosystems where multiple predators hunted in different environments? The reign of Spinosaurus didn't last forever. Like so many other giants, its world would eventually change. Shifting climates, the evolution of new predators, and changes in its aquatic habitats would have led to the extinction of Spinosaurus millions of years before the rise of the more familiar dinosaurs like T-Rex. Yet, Spinosaurus remains an enduring enigma, one that forces us to re-evaluate what it means to be a predator and how the boundaries between land and water were navigated by the titans of the Mesozoic. Imagine a creature so strange, so out of place, that it seems more like something dreamed up by an ancient artist than a creature of flesh and bone. This is Therizinosaurus, a bizarre, oversized herbivore that existed during the late Cretaceous, approximately 70 million years ago, in what is now Mongolia. At first glance, it might seem like a predator, but nothing could be further from the truth. Therizinosaurus was a herbivorous theropod, one of the most unusual plant-eating dinosaurs ever discovered. What sets it apart from all others is its enormous claws, each measuring up to 3 feet long, making them some of the largest claws of any land animal in history. For many years, scientists were baffled by the fossils of Therizinosaurus. When the first bones were discovered in the 1940s, they were thought to belong to a large, carnivorous dinosaur. But as more fossils came to light, paleontologists began to piece together the strange truth. Therizinosaurus was a plant eater, and its massive claws were not for killing prey but for reaching high into trees, stripping foliage, and possibly defending itself against other predators. At an estimated 33 feet long and 5 tons in weight, Therizinosaurus was no lightweight. It had a strange, robust body that, in combination with its long neck and small head, gave it an almost comical appearance. Its body was covered in feathers, and it likely had a diet consisting of leaves, plants, and soft ferns, which it would pluck from high branches using its claws. Despite its intimidating claws, it's believed that Therizinosaurus was a relatively peaceful animal. Its massive claws could have been used for defense against predators such as Tyrannosaurus rex, but they were probably more effective as tools for reaching and pulling down vegetation. The claws themselves were not used for slicing or cutting. Rather, they were adapted for grasping and pulling. Therizinosaurus's place in the evolutionary tree is just as puzzling as its appearance. It belongs to a group of theropods called Therizinosauridae, which are thought to be distant relatives of dromaeosaurs and oviraptorosaurs, 2 groups that include some of the most fearsome predators known. However, unlike its relatives, Therizinosaurus was herbivorous, marking one of the many strange twists in the evolutionary history of dinosaurs. Its strange body and oversized claws make Therizinosaurus one of the most unique and bizarre dinosaurs ever to walk the earth. But it also serves as a reminder that evolution often takes unexpected paths, producing creatures that defy logic and imagination. In the southernmost reaches of ancient South America, where the land was vast and untamed, a terror lurked, a giant theropod that roamed the open plains in search of prey. This was Giganotosaurus carolini, a dinosaur that reigned as one of the largest carnivores of the late Cretaceous period, around 100 million years ago. Giganotosaurus was a member of the Carcharodontosauridae family, a group of theropods known for their enormous teeth, which were shaped like the teeth of modern sharks. Its name, which means giant southern lizard, perfectly encapsulates its role as an apex predator in its environment. At an estimated 40 feet long and weighing up to 8 tons, Giganotosaurus was slightly larger than Tyrannosaurus rex, and it may have been just as deadly. What sets Giganotosaurus apart is its evolutionary history. Unlike the famous T-Rex, which was a close relative of Allosaurus and evolved in North America, Giganotosaurus was part of a separate lineage of giant carnivores that evolved in the southern hemisphere. It was a direct competitor to other large theropods, including Carcharodontosaurus in Africa, and it likely hunted large herbivores like sauropods. The structure of Giganotosaurus's skull suggests that it had powerful jaws capable of delivering devastating bites to its prey. Its teeth, although not as specialized as those of the Tyrannosaurus rex, were sharp and serrated, perfect for slicing through flesh and bone. This carnivorous giant likely relied on its speed and strength to hunt down prey, chasing down herbivores in open plains and using its massive size to overpower them. Interestingly, some paleontologists suggest that Giganotosaurus may have hunted in packs, much like modern wolves, although this theory remains a subject of debate. The discovery of multiple fossils in close proximity suggests that these animals might have lived in close-knit social groups, working together to bring down large prey. Despite its size and fearsome reputation, Giganotosaurus was not immune to the hazards of its environment. Fossils show evidence of injuries sustained in battle, and like all dinosaurs, it eventually succumbed to the pressures of survival. Its remains have been found in various parts of Patagonia, and its legacy lives on as one of the most remarkable predatory dinosaurs to ever roam the earth. In the deserts of northern Africa, where ancient sand dunes hide the bones of dinosaurs long since turned to dust, the name Carcharodontosaurus strikes fear into the hearts of paleontologists. This dinosaur was named after the great white shark, and for good reason. Just like the apex predator of the oceans, Carcharodontosaurus was a ruthless, powerful carnivore. Larger than even Tyrannosaurus rex in some respects, Carcharodontosaurus was a theropod of terrifying proportions. With a body that stretched up to 43 feet long and weighed as much as 8 tons, it was a formidable predator capable of hunting the largest prey in its ecosystem. But it was its teeth that set Carcharodontosaurus apart from other theropods. Its teeth were shark-like, serrated and curved, designed to slice through flesh and bone with ease. This carnivore lived during the Cretaceous period, around 100 million years ago, and it likely hunted large herbivores like Apatosaurus and Brachiosaurus. Carcharodontosaurus's massive jaws would have been capable of delivering bone-crushing bites, and its sheer size and speed would have made it a terrifying predator. Today, Carcharodontosaurus remains one of the largest and most feared carnivores in the fossil record, a true king of the Cretaceous seas of sand. In the southern reaches of South America, during the late Cretaceous period, a sleek predator lurked in the shadows of the dense forests. This dinosaur, Carnotaurus sastrae, was as fierce as its name suggests, known for its intimidating appearance and specialized hunting adaptations. Carnotaurus, meaning meat-eating bull, was a medium-sized theropod, measuring about 25 feet long and weighing roughly 2 tons. What sets it apart from other theropods, however, are its distinctive features. It sported 2 short horns above its eyes, possibly used for display or combat, with other members of its species. These horns, combined with its flattened skull and powerful bite, make Carnotaurus one of the most visually striking dinosaurs ever discovered. Despite its relatively small size compared to some of its carnivorous counterparts, Carnotaurus was a highly efficient predator, well adapted to its environment. It had a slender aerodynamic body built for speed, with long muscular legs designed for quick bursts of movement. This made it an excellent hunter capable of chasing down and catching smaller, faster prey. But it wasn't just speed that made Carnotaurus a formidable predator. Its jaws were equipped with sharp, serrated teeth, ideal for ripping through flesh, while its powerful bite allowed it to bring down prey much larger than itself. Its body was also built to withstand the rigors of high-speed chases, with a strong tail used for balance and agility. One of the most remarkable features of Carnotaurus was its reduced forelimbs. a characteristic shared by several other theropods, including the famous Tyrannosaurus rex. The forelimbs were tiny, almost vestigial, and although their exact purpose remains unclear, they were likely not used for capturing prey. Instead, it's believed that they played a role in balance or perhaps in mating displays, but there's no concrete evidence to suggest they had a functional role in predation. The discovery of Carnotaurus fossils has provided scientists with valuable insights into the behavior and physiology of these extraordinary predators. Its skull, complete with the iconic horns, gives us a glimpse into the strange world of predatory dinosaurs during the Cretaceous. Its unique combination of speed, power, and striking visual features make Carnotaurus a standout member of the theropod group, and its legacy continues to fascinate paleontologists to this day. More than 150 million years ago, during the late Jurassic period, the world was dominated by one of the most fearsome predators to ever walk the earth, Allosaurus fragilis. With a body length of 28 to 40 feet and an estimated weight of up to 2.5 tons. Allosaurus was the top predator of its time, preying on the large sauropods and other herbivorous dinosaurs that roamed the vast plains of what is now North America. Allosaurus, often described as the quintessential Jurassic predator, was a bipedal carnivore with sharp, curved teeth and powerful jaws. Its slender, muscular body was built for speed and agility, allowing it to close in on prey with remarkable efficiency. Its long tail, used for balance, helped it navigate through dense forests and open landscapes alike, making it a versatile hunter capable of taking on a variety of prey. What makes Allosaurus particularly fascinating is its hunting strategy. Unlike some theropods that relied on brute strength or ambush tactics, Allosaurus likely employed a highly coordinated method of hunting, possibly working in groups to bring down large prey. Evidence from fossilized bone beds suggests that Allosaurus may have hunted in packs, although this theory remains a subject of debate. Regardless, its formidable jaws, equipped with teeth capable of slicing through flesh and bone, made it a deadly adversary for any herbivore unlucky enough to cross its path. Although Allosaurus was an apex predator, it wasn't without its challenges. Its world was inhabited by other large carnivores such as Ceratosaurus, which competed for the same resources. However, the evolutionary advantage of Allosaurus's speed, size, and hunting strategy likely allowed it to dominate its ecosystem, making it one of the most successful predatory dinosaurs of the Jurassic period. Fossilized remains of Allosaurus reveal a creature with remarkable resilience. Many fossils show signs of healed injuries, suggesting that Allosaurus was capable of surviving brutal confrontations with other predators or herbivores. Its ability to heal and continue hunting in such a dangerous world speaks to its toughness and tenacity. The legacy of Allosaurus as a top predator is still alive today, inspiring numerous depictions in popular culture and continuing to capture the imagination of paleontologists and enthusiasts alike. This dinosaur's mix of speed, agility, and sheer power made it a true force of nature in the Jurassic world. In the late stages of the Cretaceous period, when giant herbivores ruled the Earth, a new contender for the title of the largest land animal to ever walk the planet emerged: Dreadnoughtus shrani. This colossal sauropod dwarfed many of its contemporaries, and its massive size and formidable presence make it one of the most awe-inspiring dinosaurs ever discovered. Dreadnoughtus was a long-necked, long-tailed sauropod that lived about 77 million years ago in what is now Argentina. Estimates suggest that it could reach a length of 85 feet and weighed in at around 65 tons, making it one of the heaviest land animals in history. Its body was a true testament to the sheer scale that sauropods could achieve, with legs like tree trunks and a neck that seemed to stretch endlessly toward the sky. Despite its immense size, Dreadnoughtus wasn't just a lumbering giant. It was likely a fast-moving herbivore, using its long neck to reach high vegetation and its powerful legs to cover vast distances in search of food. Its sheer size would have made it virtually invulnerable to most predators, with only the largest theropods being capable of even attempting to bring it down. In fact, Dreadnoughtus's size may have been its primary defense mechanism. Its towering height and sheer weight would have deterred most would-be attackers. What sets Dreadnoughtus apart from other giant sauropods is its well-preserved fossil remains. Unlike many sauropods, which are only known from fragmentary fossils, a nearly complete skeleton of Dreadnoughtus was discovered, providing an unprecedented look at the anatomy of these giants. The bones were remarkably well preserved, allowing paleontologists to make more accurate estimates of its size and weight. This discovery has also given scientists invaluable insights into the biology and behavior of sauropods, helping to shed light on how such enormous animals lived and interacted with their environment. Dreadnoughtus's massive size would have been both a blessing and a curse. While it likely faced few natural predators, it would have required an enormous amount of food to sustain itself. Its diet consisted primarily of plants, likely including conifers and cycads, and it would have needed to consume vast quantities of vegetation each day to support its massive body. When we think of giants, few names are more synonymous with immense size than Argentinosaurus huinculensis. This colossal sauropod is widely regarded as one of the largest land animals to have ever existed, and its sheer size is awe-inspiring. Argentinosaurus, named after the country of Argentina, lived approximately 94 million years ago, during the late Cretaceous period, and it roamed what is now the Patagonian plains. Argentinosaurus was an herbivorous dinosaur that reached staggering lengths of up to 100 feet, with some estimates even suggesting it may have grown as long as 130 feet. Its weight is thought to have ranged from 50 to 100 tons, making it not just one of the longest, but also one of the heaviest creatures to ever walk the earth. The enormous body of Argentinosaurus was supported by 4 massive legs, each thick enough to be compared to the size of tree trunks. Its long tail likely served as a counterbalance, allowing it to move with more stability despite its colossal proportions. But size alone doesn't make a creature invincible, and Argentinosaurus had to contend with its environment in ways that we are still learning about today. It lived in an era filled with predators, and while it is believed to have been relatively safe from all but the largest carnivores, such as Giganotosaurus, the sheer volume of food required to sustain its massive body was an ongoing challenge. To fuel such a gargantuan frame, it would have spent a significant portion of its day foraging for plants, likely conifers, ferns, and other soft vegetation, consuming enormous quantities of foliage to meet its dietary needs. Despite its size, Argentinosaurus would not have had many natural predators to fear. The presence of Giganotosaurus and other carnivorous theropods in its habitat posed a constant threat, but these predators would have had a hard time bringing down such an enormous creature. Argentinosaurus, like many other sauropods, likely relied on its sheer size as a defense mechanism. It's believed that these giants lived in herds, further adding to their protection. By grouping together, they may have deterred even the largest predators, making it difficult for carnivores to isolate an individual and strike. The discovery of Argentinosaurus fossils, while incomplete, has given paleontologists a deeper understanding of the extraordinary scale at which dinosaurs could evolve. Fossilized vertebrae and limb bones have been found, but no complete skeleton has yet been uncovered, leaving many questions about its exact appearance and behavior still unanswered. However, the evidence we do have suggests that Argentinosaurus was a highly specialized animal, perfectly adapted to life as a giant herbivore in a world full of dangers 154 to 153 million years ago. Its remains have been found in what is now North America, with some species also discovered in Africa. Brachiosaurus was a massive herbivore that reached lengths of 85 feet and weighed an astonishing 50 tons. Unlike many of its contemporaries, which had relatively short necks, Brachiosaurus had an incredibly long neck that reached up to 30 feet in length, allowing it to feed from the tops of tall trees and foliage that other herbivores could not access. Its long neck, combined with its relatively short tail and large body, gave it a unique posture among the sauropods, with its front legs being notably longer than its hind legs, creating a steep slope from head to tail. Brachiosaurus was one of the most successful and widespread sauropods of its time. Its ability to reach high vegetation and feed on the tops of trees allowed it to occupy a unique ecological niche, reducing competition with other herbivores. Its sheer size and specialized adaptations make it one of the most distinctive and fascinating dinosaurs in the history of paleontology. There are few names in paleontology as universally recognized as Tyrannosaurus rex. Known as the king of the dinosaurs, this massive theropod was one of the last dinosaurs to ever walk the Earth, living during the late Cretaceous period, around 68 to 66 million years ago. T-Rex's reputation as the ultimate apex predator is well earned, and its legacy continues to captivate the imagination of both scientists and the public alike. T-Rex was a carnivore of enormous proportions, measuring up to 40 feet long and standing nearly 13 feet tall at the hips. It had a massive skull, equipped with powerful jaws and razor-sharp teeth, capable of exerting a bite force greater than any land animal that has ever lived. Estimates suggest that its bite could generate a force of around 12,800 pounds, more than enough to crush bone and tear through the flesh of even the largest prey. Despite its fearsome reputation, T-Rex was not the fastest dinosaur. It was more of a stalk and ambush predator, relying on its keen sense of smell and powerful jaws to bring down large prey. Its primary diet consisted of large herbivores like Triceratops and Hadrosaurus, but it may also have scavenged from other predators, including the recently deceased or injured. Evidence from bite marks on the bones of other dinosaurs suggests that T-Rex was capable of scavenging, making it an opportunistic feeder. T-Rex's small forelimbs have long been the subject of fascination. These arms, which were about 3 feet long, were tiny in comparison to the size of its body, and their exact purpose remains unclear. Some scientists suggest that they were used in mating displays or help the animal to push itself up from a prone position, but the full extent of their function is still a matter of debate. Despite their small size, T-Rex's legs were long and muscular, designed for short bursts of speed, and they allowed the animal to run at speeds of up to 20 miles per hour. T-Rex was not just a predator, but also an important part of the ecosystem in the late Cretaceous. Its role as the apex predator meant that it played a crucial part in maintaining balance in the food chain. The evidence of T-Rex's predation and scavenging habits highlights its position at the top of the food chain, and its massive size and power were essential to its dominance over other species. The legacy of T-Rex lives on in popular culture, where it continues to capture the imagination of millions of people. From movies to books to documentaries, this iconic dinosaur remains one of the most famous creatures to ever walk the earth.